Thank you, Madam Chair. And, you know, as Senator Rich said, the Sportsman Act has been a long time in the making, but I think this is a very positive day. And I think the way, I especially want to thank you, because the work between your office and mine, the work that you put in with Senator Cantwell, and the incredible support that this legislation received here today on this committee is a model for how this place can work and should work, and we could learn a lot from that. And so I'm very optimistic about this. I also want to take a moment and thank Senators Risch and Senator Manchin, Senators Fisher and Heidkamp, who are all very active in the Congressional Sportsmen's Caucus, for their leadership on this issue, and Senator Tester and former Senator Hagan for their work leading previous iterations of this package. Like a lot of New Mexicans, certainly some of my most favorite memories are hunting trips with my family. And I think about last year, I took my 11-year-old boy for his first backcountry elk hunting trip on National Forest land, and the bull elk that we brought home from the Carson National Forest not only fed our family for the last year and more than a few senators, but I think that experience that he experienced in the backcountry of northern New Mexico will stick with him for a long time to come after the freezer's empty. And I was, you know, Senator Daines came over to show me the picture of the bull elk that he just packed out of the wilderness in Montana with his son. And those memories, they're the things that you look back on that are really quite meaningful in life. Unfortunately, I think it's true that too many hunters and anglers have found it harder to get to some of those places over the years, and this bill does a great deal to begin to remedy that, so that the no hunting signs and the lock gates that people have experienced in recent years, that we're doing a better job of making sure that, in particular, our public lands are open to sportsmen and to recreationists. That's been a huge issue in New Mexico. I know it firsthand. I've experienced the frustration of running into a lock gate on roads that used to be open to the public and are necessary to access public land. And as opportunities for hunting and fishing shrink, we are losing the next generation of hunters and anglers. And those are the people who will fund tens of billions of dollars in conservation and restoration work through duck stamps, through the taxes that they pay on ammunition and tackle and motorboat fuel, all of which are dedicated, as you know, to conserving and protecting our fish and wildlife. I'm especially pleased, too, that the bill includes the Hunt Act legislation, which requires public land agencies to identify high-priority lands under their management that currently lack public access routes for recreational users, and to work with states and tribes and willing private landowners to provide public access to those places. The bill targets lands that are technically open to the public, but are literally impossible to get to reach, because there's no public trail, no public road leading to them. In New Mexico, we literally have a 16,000-acre BLM wilderness area, the Sabinoso, 16,000 acres of mesas and incredible canyons, spectacular grasslands, and more than a few big muley bucks, but without legal access by road or trail. The public simply can't get there. So in many cases, public access can be gained by working cooperatively with local landowners. We've seen the BLM successfully do that with Freeport-McMoran to allow the public to use 3 miles of an existing road on the company's private land to now access the Alamo Hueco Wilderness Study Area in southern New Mexico, an area that has tremendous hunting opportunities that was inaccessible until 2012. And the Hunt Act will help identify areas like these that are priorities for sportsmen, priorities for other recreational users, and find solutions to open these special outdoor places back up to the public. The bill also includes reauthorization of the Federal Land Transaction Facilitation Act, FLTFA. That's a mouthful, I know, but it's a very successful program that directs revenues from public land sales towards the purchase of high-value conservation lands and has been a critical tool for conserving fish and game habitat, particularly in the West. And lastly, as Senator Cantwell mentioned, the bill includes the permanent reauthorization of the Land and Water Conservation Fund, a cornerstone of our nation's commitment to conserving special places for generations to come. I just took a group of tribal youth fly fishing at the Valles Caldera National Preserve, a place that would not be open to the public without the Land and Water Conservation Fund. So once again, I want to thank Ranking Member Cantwell for her leadership on that issue and her continued persistence in keeping this program in our conservation toolbox. I think hunting and fishing are an integral part of our American heritage, but without these special open lands, that tradition could be lost. So this bill makes sure that our kids and our grandkids will be catching fish, chasing antelope and mule deer on our public lands for many years to come. And I hope it's one of the big bipartisan accomplishments of this Congress. Thank you.